This video, I'm going to be breaking down the nickel 3-3 double mug defense in college football 26. This defense can be found in the 3-2-6 defensive playbook. It's probably one of my better, more enjoyable defensive playbooks. I think there's a couple good ones, but this one is really effective. If you guys want to check out my entire offensive, defensive ebooks, those are going to be available in our school community. And that gives you the full schemes, coverage adjustments, how to defend the best stuff in the game, all of that for just $10. You get both Madden and college football with that. So if you want to sign up for that, that link is going to be in the description down below. Like I said, today we're going to be going into detail on this nickel 3-3 double mug, as I think it is one of the better defenses in the game, at least right now. One of the cool parts about this defense is that you can actually sub in your edges at defensive tackle in this, which I think makes it really, really good. So you can put edge players here that are faster, which is super helpful for generating pressure. And then if you wanted to, you could put safeties at this sub package as well, which I think is also helpful for generating pressure. Speed is the name of the game, especially in college football 26. And then from a coaching adjustment perspective, what I like to do with this defense is we are actually going to leave auto flip on for this. We'll just be able to flip it naturally, whichever way we go. Option read key conservative. Make sure you have this one. Defensive motion response, disable that. That is really important. Option pitch key aggressive, RPO read key conservative, RPO pass key conservative. And then I have my safety depth on close, but I have my width on default. Okay, so the main defense that I base out of is I actually go to the shell here and I turn this into a cover two shell, but I'm gonna base out of mid blitz, and I'll explain kind of why here. So the main reason that I do that is because in general, it doesn't really matter. Let's see if we actually motion this guy. Yeah, so even though that you're in a cover two shell, notice that like the linebackers won't move because they are blitzing. So like let's just say, for example, I was in a formation. Let's try to just find like a basic, like a trips tight end. What's nice, you see here, they don't, if you were in cover zero alignment, this corner, he would actually run all the way across the field, which you don't want that because we're going to primarily actually be turning this into a zone coverage. Now, you can still run the same exact blitzes that I'm going to show you in this breakdown here with it as a cover zero defense. I just think the coverage is not as good, and it's going to require you probably to use a safety as opposed to a corner, which I'm going to talk about here. So the way that I currently like to run this defense is I actually like to hop on the slot corner. So the reason I like to hop on the slot corner is because I like to play cover two. I think cover two is kind of the best base coverage defense. And the reason why is just because it limits big plays. Ironically, it's one of the safer defensive coverages, the way this game is kind of played. And then it kind of limits big plays. It, to a degree, helps a little bit with takeoff. It limits like outside throws, and it kind of just forces you to take the underneath, which is great. So the way that I like to run cover two is I'm going to hop on the slot corner and I'm going to put him right here, right? And then I'm just going to literally put two cloud flats, two deep halves, and this is basically my Sin 6 shell. What I'll typically do, especially if I'm in a situation like this where I've got potential seam streak threats on the field, I'll normally just leave this guy in a vertical hook. I might man him up to whichever player I think is going to be on the seam streak. And then if I do get a seam streak, I'll switch stick onto, somebody else basically. But normally when you're sending 6, you're anticipating the pressure getting home quick. So, it would look something like this. And we're going to see here, we're going to be able to get 2 free. Okay. Now, the big key with this is you don't have to necessarily stand like right over the middle of the line of scrimmage. You can stand over in this area, or you could stand over in this area. It's just kind of dependent upon where you want to be. I normally like to be right over the running back. And the reason why is because typically they're going to send the running back out on a route. And if they do send the running back out on a route, I can kind of take away a snap throw there, and then I can also get really quick pressure this way. The other reason why I like to be over the top of a running back is occasionally one of my favorite adjustments is if I want to stay in a cover zero, I might man that safety up there. And then I'm going to have my user in a zone, and then I'm going to take a defensive end on the side of the running back, and I'm going to put him into man coverage on the running back. And the reason I'm doing that is because if they block the running back, sometimes this can still come free, even if they block a running back and you're only sending 5. which I think is huge. I think that's a huge, huge deal. So that's one of the ways in which I'll get pressure is I'll man the running back up. And then you can kind of send four in a lot of different ways with this defense. I think one of the most underrated ways to send four out of this, especially if you're in a cover two shell, is take the running back side guy and put him in a vert, and then put the other guy in a deep middle third. So you see this is more of a coverage look. The reason why I like this is if they block the running back, sometimes he'll stamp up there and you can get an instant shed. As you see, I just got the instant shed. That is very popular when they block a running back. So it's one of the ways that I'll kind of combat that. And then again, if we ever want to, we can play straight cover zero. We can play straight cover zero, send six very easily. We can easily do that. That's perfectly fine. And we can just send the gas. The other thing about this is if we want to send five, another great way to send five out of this defense would be to simply take really anybody on the right side. I like to take this defensive tackle and just vert hook him out. You're still going to get pretty clean pressure from everybody. So that's your send five. I just showed you kind of one of the ways you can send four. Another way that you can send four is you can zone out the linebacker. So again, we're just kind of mixing and matching, who we're zoning out. A lot of times you can actually get pressured like that. I get that all the time in a game. I actually get that send four a lot in a game. And the reason why is because it's a pretty weak, if the running back's over here and he doesn't block, you're putting yourself in a pretty advantageous position. And like I said, you can run man coverage. I'm not telling you that you can't run man coverage. I'm just saying you might try it like this as well. Another coverage that I like is to have the mid read, and the reason I like to have a mid read is if they take this tight end and seam streak him, watch the mid read just play it really, really well. You see how it gets super vertical? It gets a little more vertical than the middle third will get. So this is kind of the main reason why I like to have the slot corner. Now, one of the biggest and most effective ways that people will block this blitz is they will untarget your user. Okay, that's one of the most effective ways for them to block this blitz. What I'll do is if I notice that they are untargeting my user is I will literally just user rush them. And so that's where I would go with something more so like this, or I would go with something, more so like this. I like to blitz these guys and I like to have these outside guys in coverage. And if they untarget me, I've got a really good chance of something coming in up the middle of the defense. Obviously, the other thing that you can do is if they are going to untarget you, then this is where, again, I would go back to that send five look where I've got my D end here on the right side and a vert. And if they untarget me, then I'll just go in and get, I'll just use a rush basically. So obviously you just got to keep running down and you'll be able to get there. So that's one of the ways that I'll play defense. Another one that's kind of fun is this one right here. It's just a send five like this. I think this is perfectly good, and you're going to get pretty clean edge pressure off it. There's a lot of ways to run double mug. It's basically just a +1 defense where you're just trying to get what I call a +1 advantage. What that basically means is we're going to send one more guy than they can block, but we're not going to send 6 on 6. We're going to send 5 on 6. We're going to send 4 on 5, and we're going to send 6 when they block 7, right? Or when they block 6, we're going to send 6, but we're going to get one free. So anyway, that is pretty much the double mug defense. It's not super complex. I think the biggest thing with this defense, though, is when you use the slot corner, it allows you to play cover 2 a little bit easier. And I think cover 2 is just such a good coverage. And then the other thing about this that you can do whenever you start to send, pressure is you could do it like this, where we're just going to we have a contain on that right side, and then we're just going to send 3 off this left side. And sometimes, as you see right there, we're able to generate pressure. Double mug is pretty glitchy like that, where, again, it might not come in every single time, right? It might not come in every single time, but the times that it does come in, obviously, it's extremely, extremely effective. We'll show you, again, kind of the same idea over here. We put this guy in a vert hook to the left, this guy in a vert hook to the right. Now we're sending 3 off the right side. Could potentially get pressure in that way as well. And again, it's just a little bit better of a way to shed. The other thing that I really like about this is if they were to block. So if they were to block a running back, I really want to always have one of these middle linebackers blitzing if possible. And the reason why I want to always have one of these middle linebackers blitzing is because typically the game will make the running back go block the linebacker, and you can get instant wins. You can get instant sheds that way pretty consistently, actually. And so you'll see here, he goes and blocks the running back. See how that generates kind of that A-gap pressure? One of the best features of the defense is that the running back is typically responsible for these guys, which then kind of allow us every now and then to say, you know what, I want to, maybe send 6 and not cover the running back, and we can still generate, pretty clean pressure off of that, right? So anyways, that is kind of how I'm running the double mug, at least the 3-3 double mug right now. A lot of other versatile ways to run this defense, but this is the one that I like. Some people like to use her the safety. Some people like to use her a defensive end. Some people like to use her the linebackers. But I think in general, one of the best features of the defense is its versatility and the fact that you know where everybody's going to be after you come out of the huddle. So I want to thank you for watching the video. If you guys want to get my full offensive, defensive ebooks, full guides, schemes to take your game to the next level, those are going to be available in our school community for just $10. You can get access to all of the schemes that I have over there for both college football and for Madden. So if you want to sign up, head down to the description down below.